Assalamu alaikum dear students. Let's continue the topic electrostatics. In the last lecture we had seen the vector form of Coulomb's law. So let's have a quick revision of Coulomb's law. What is actually Coulomb's law? If there are two charges present in air or in vacuum or in any medium, so there will be a force of attraction or repulsion between them, and that force of attraction and repulsion is found to be directly proportional to the product of the magnitude of the two charges and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. Now today we have to study superposition of forces. Let us see what is superposition of forces. Here, instead of having just two charges, suppose there are n number of charges. There are number of charges present in any system. So here we have taken that system. Let us consider a charge Q1. See here, it is a charge Q1. It is placed at point A1. Charge Q2 is, this red dot is a position of the charge. So charge Q2 is placed at the point A2. Charge Q3 is placed at a point A3. And charge Q4 is placed at a point A4. And charge Q5 is placed at a point A5. And assume that all the charges are positive. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5, all the charges are positive in nature. So there will be a force of repulsion. Each and every charges are being repelled by all the other charges. So here what we'll have to do, let us consider the charge Q1. We all know that each and every charge is going to experience the forces exerted by the other charges present in the system. But for the sake of convenience, let us consider only one charge Q1. We all know that this charge Q1 is going to be repelled by from the charge Q2. It is going to be repelled by from Q3. It is going to be repelled by Q4 and it is going to be repelled by Q5. So there are 5 charges and the forces acting on the charge Q1 will be 4. The forces exerted by Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5. So if you are asked to count the number of forces, what are the total forces acting on the charge Q1? That total forces is given by the superposition principle, or you can say superposition forces. Means in order to calculate the forces acting on the charge Q1, you'll have to add all the forces exerted by the other charges on the charge Q1. Means the forces acting on the charge Q1 will be the sum of the forces exerted by the remaining charges. So here it is nothing but the resultant of the force acting on the charge Q1. So if in the system there are a number of charges are present in the system, then the resultant force acting on any charge is equal to the sum of the individual forces exerted by the other charge. This is what superposition of the forces. So let us first count the forces. Obviously charge Q1 is going to be repelled by Q2. So force of repulsion is directed in the opposite direction. And while this distance is distance between Q1 and Q2 this distance is the distance which is drawn from the charge Q1 to Q2 is R21. Means this F12 is directed in the direction of R21. Similarly, Q3 is going to exert the force on the charge Q1. It is represented by F13, means force experienced by the charge 1 and exerted by the charge 3. It is also a force of repulsion. And what is the direction? It is directed in the direction of R31. Similarly, the charge Q1 is repelled by the charge Q4, and this force of repulsion is directed in this direction. It is denoted as F14. It is force experienced by the charge 1 and exerted by the charge 4. Similarly, here we are having F15, and their corresponding distances are R41 and R51. So let us first write down the equation of the force F12. As per the Coulomb's law, force experienced by the charge Q1 exerted by the charge Q2. According to the Coulomb's law, it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. How many charges Q1 and Q2 are involved over here? So Q1 into Q2 upon R. What distance I have to take? I'll have to take R21, or it is simply you can write R square only, because the distance is square of the distance is always scalar, into, and the direction, in the last lecture we have seen that the direction is denoted by the unit vector when you multiply it with the force, so it is R21 hat. Similarly, if you are asked to write down the equation for the F13, force experienced by the first charge 1 and exerted by the charge 3, is written as 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Q1, what is the other charge? Q3 upon R31 the whole square, into, what is the vector over here? R31 hat. Likewise, you go on calculating the total forces. Suppose, similarly, equation for F15, I can write 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q5 divided by R51 square, into, what is the vector in mole over here? It is R51 hat. Now, what is the resultant force acting on the charge Q1? As per the superposition of the forces, that the resultant force acting on any charge is equal to the sum of the individual forces exerted by the other charge. So these are the individual forces exerted by the other charge on the charge Q1. So resultant force acting on the charge Q1 is F. It will be the sum of F12 plus F13 plus F14 plus F15. When you substitute their equations, it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. F12 is Q1 Q2 upon R21 square into R21 hat plus 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 Q1 Q3 upon R31 square into R31 gap, plus, similarly you can write it, you can go on writing it for the remaining forces. I am writing it for the last one, which is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 Q5 upon R51 square into R51 hat. So here 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 and Q1, they are almost constant. They are common in all the terms. So it can be taken out as Q1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. Now the remaining term will be there in the bracket. It will be Q2 upon R21 square into R21 hat plus Q3 upon R31 square into R31 hat plus Q4 upon R41 square into R41 hat plus Q5 upon R51 square into R51 cap. So this is the resultant force acting on the charge Q1. Similarly, if there are n number of charges present, there are n number of charges 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is one single charge placed in that system. Let the name of that charge is Q0. This Q0 is a positive charge and this charge is called as test charge. So all the charges Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, if there are n number of charges surrounding the charge Q0, so this all charges are going to exert the forces on the charge Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 up to Qn. N number of charges are there, they all are going to exert a force on the charge Q0. This Q0 is called as test charge, and remember that test charge is always positive and having a magnitude of 1 coulomb. So this charge Q0 is being repelled by, all the charges are positive and this Q0 is also positive. So all the charges are going to exert the force. Let us calculate the force experienced by the charge Q0. How you are going to write down the equation in the same way, force experienced by the charge Q0 over here. What is the common charge? Q0 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q1 upon R10 into 10 hat plus Q2 upon R20 into R20 hat plus similarly you'll have to add all the charges, and the last charge is Qn. Qn is also going to exert a force N0 on the charge Q0, N0 is true. This would be the total force or the resultant force acting on the system of charges. Remember that this instead of adding all this thing, I can write this as a summation of, it is Q0 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. It is a sum of Q1, Q2, Q3, sum of these ratios, Q1 upon R1, Q2 upon R2, Q3 upon R3. So I can write this as it. This entire term will be replaced by the sign summation. I is here. I can write Qn upon R n0 square into R n0 hat, where the value of this n lies from 1 to n. So I can replace this entire term by just this summation sign. So this is what the superposition principle. I have reduced the forces which are exerted by the other charges into such a small equation of the force. This is called as superposition of forces. Now let us have one more important term called as electric field intensity. What is mean by intensity? Intensity is nothing but strength. How do you come to know the strength of the charge? We all know that suppose there are two charges. This charge Q1 is positive and it is having a magnitude, suppose it is having a magnitude of 1 coulomb. Let us place another charge Q0 which is a test charge. So there is a finite distance between these two charges Q1 and Q0. Obviously Q0 is also positive and Q1 is also positive. So both the charges are going to be repelled. There will be a force of repulsion between them. Okay, so here the charge q0 is being repelled by the charge q1. There will be a force of repulsion between them, and the distance between them is, say, r. What happens if this charge q0 is placed at an infinite distance from the charge q1? Then you are not going to observe any force of repulsion between these two charges, because its distance from the charge q1 is quite high. When you go on moving this charge from the infinite distance, you will find that slowly the charges are, you will find that this charge is going to experience a force when it comes near the charge q1. It means what? Each and every charge is creating an electric field in its surrounding region. It is an area surrounding the charge where the effect of repulsion or attraction is being observed. If any charge of any magnitude comes inside the field of this charge, then only it is going to be attracted or repelled by the corresponding charge. If it is outside the field of the other charge, then there will be no force of attraction or repulsion and attraction, because it is outside its area of effectiveness. So this area of effectiveness is of the charge q1 is called as electric field, where it is the area surrounding any charge where the effect of attraction or repulsion is felt by the other charge. So this is called as electric field. And what is electric field intensity? Intensity means strength. So strength of the electric field, whether how much strong the electric field is there. So it is called as intensity of electric field. If you place a charge of higher magnitude, suppose it is of 5 coulomb, it will create a greater electric field in a surrounding region, because this charge is quite strong. So electric field intensity is nothing but strength of electric field. And how do you come to know the strength of electric field? You'll come to know suppose there are two charges. Here it is of 5 coulomb and it is of 1 coulomb. Charge q5 is going to create the electric field in a surrounding region. Similarly, charge q1 is also going to create the electric field in its surrounding region. If you have placed a charge q0, let us take a test charge which is placed at a distance r, and it is kept inside the field of q5. So it is going to be experience force. Similarly, if the same charge is placed at the same distance from the charge of the another magnitude, here you are not going to observe any force of repulsion. Or even if the charge q0 comes inside the field of the charge q1, it will experience a less amount of force as compared to this field. So how do you come to know that this electric field will be very strong and this electric field will be very low magnitude? It will be a weak electric field or it will be a strong electric field. How will you come to know? Obviously, you will come to know it with the force of repulsion. How do you come to know? You are actually measuring the force of repulsion experienced by this test charge. So mathematically it is defined as force of attraction or repulsion experienced by per unit test charge. So formula for the electric field is, now electric field is written as capital E. It is nothing but the force experienced by any test charge, F upon Q0, force experienced per unit test charge. So this is the mathematical concept of electric field intensity. How do you come to know that the field is strong? You are measuring the force on the charge. With this force, you will come to know that the field is strong and field is weak. So F upon Q0 is the mathematical expression for this electric field. So we all know that F, by the Coulomb's law, formula for the F is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0. It will be Q, support the magnitude of the charge. Here we have taken Q5 or Q1 of 5 coulomb. It is just a single charge, say Q. We don't know the magnitude, suppose. Q into Q0, which is Q0 is experiencing the charge, upon R square divided by Q0. So in this expression, Q0 is going to be cancelled. It is nothing but 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 Q upon R square. So this is the required formula of electric field intensity. This is the concept of electric field intensity. So suppose you have placed one charge Q at any point. Let's place a test charge at a distance R from the charge Q. Test charge is Q0. So this test charge is going to experience the force, and the amount of electric field at this particular point is E. When you move closer to the charge, electric field goes on increasing. When you move away from the charge, electric field goes on decreasing. Just like the force, that we are having the concept of electric field. So this electric field, if even you keep the same charge Q0, and if you change the position of the charge Q0, but the distance is fixed over here, this distance is fixed, at a same distance, you just keep it and just change the position. So again the charge Q0 is going to experience the same amount of electric field. Similarly, if the charge Q0 is placed here at the same distance R, distance is same, so again the charge Q0 is going to experience the same amount of electric field. So this electric field will be constant on this spherical surface, obviously, because is this spherical surface surrounding the charge, because this distance will be everywhere surrounding the charge. So this electric field is going to remain constant over this spherical surface. Similarly, if you draw another sphere surrounding the charge Q, this sphere will have a different electric field because it is much closer to the charge Q. So this point and each and every point of this sphere will have the same amount of electric field. But this electric field, say it is E1. So here you can say E1 will be greater than E because they are at a different distances. So this is actually the concept of electric field intensity. Hope you'll have understood the topic. Thank you.